And good morning and welcome to Your Vote Counts. I'm Scott Mitchell, John Echols, Jason Dunnington. It's a new year, and so the political news is coming fast and furious. The one that caught everybody's attention is this summer feeding program the state's not going to be involved in. Jordan Fremstead did a really good story at News 9. You can see that. But my question to you is, why would we not want money for kids having food in the summertime?
Yeah, so what we're talking about is a federal program that would have provided $40 per child for the summer for feeding on top of their other SNAP benefits. And, you know, I think everyone at home can agree that we shouldn't be playing politics with feeding children in the state of Oklahoma. But I don't for a second believe that because the governor made this decision that he hates children. He has 6 children of his own. I think this is one of those cases where everyone needs to take a literal deep breath and realize that Oklahoma, that 1 in 5 children are food insecure and that we have a huge issue with kids going hungry. This was federal money that we've already used the last 2 years in pandemic form, piloted program. This is a no-brainer. I hope they get a second chance to say yes to this program.
Okay, I know the old joke. I'm here from the government and I'm here to help you. And we're always, you've talked about, you have some problems with Washington, but does that apply in this case?
Well, I have a lot of problems with Washington. I have a lot of problems with out-of-control welfare programs and have fought against many of those. Now, that being said, I would have accepted this money. What this money would have allowed to do is children on free and reduced lunch to have benefits during the summer. We did this over the last 2 years. I will look at the governor's concerns and figure out why he decided not to accept the money. I'm sure it has to do with the administration, and that is always worrisome. But it's important to never take a hardline stance on any issue. While I've been a leader in welfare reform, this is an issue dealing with feeding kids. If this goes before the legislature, I would strongly believe we would end up taking that money to help the children over the summer in free and reduced lunches.
Okay, there'll be 100 jillion bills introduced, and there's always some the media really take a hard look at. One of them is a bill that's coming this session dealing with putting a copy of the 10 Commandments in classrooms. It's generating a lot of heat and notice. Your thoughts?
So dealing with the 10 Commandments in classrooms in 30 seconds is going to be tough. So I have to preface this with, I'm a Bible-believing, born-again Christian. I'm not a Republican who is a Christian. I'm a Christian who happens to be a Republican. I believe in the 10 Commandments. I believe that we should live by more of that. I believe we should have an awful lot of love in the New Testament as well. If this was part of a historical display, I would be for this. But at the moment, it's not. It looks like it is just the 10 Commandments inside public schools, and I have some real concerns about the schools teaching my kids religion. Again, my faith is the core of who I am. Politics is a thing that I do. We need to be careful not to get those flipped around.
Okay, let's turn to our former divinity student and who served in the legislature. You see what is happening here. Help us unpack the backstory on this.
Yeah, I think my colleague said it really well. I mean, I'm a former Nazarene minister and grew up learning the 10 Commandments. It's part of my heritage, if you will. But I do think it's ironic that the same elected officials that are pushing 10 Commandments to be put in schools are the ones that want books banned in schools. So they want certain things taught to children, but not others. It doesn't really add up at the end of the day. Also, are we going to put the 10 Commandments in its original language in Hebrew, or are you going to use one of the many 30-odd different translations of the 10 Commandments? There's just a lot here. It's a lot to do about nothing. I don't expect this bill to be signed into law.
But I like the Hebrew idea.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Okay, yeah, bilingual, right? Okay. So when we come back, we're going to talk about a bill that got a lot of attention this week that's a real good deal.